Are you ready for another show with Vanessa Noemi Holistic Natural Medicine? We're going to talk about the stress. This is a very common thing that everybody talk about it, but we're going to go an approach to stress in another lens, with another lens. So, are you ready? Be with us till the end. Welcome to my show, Vanessa. She's
Thank you.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? The power of internet. You are from there, I'm from Canada, and easy to talk this way. We're going to
Yes,
talk about the stress reduction techniques in healing chronic pain. You know, my show mostly about chronic pain and holistic medicine.
yes.
And she's the best to talk about this because she's homeopath, Reiki Master, intuitive, and women's health coach.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me about your story. How did you become a women's health coach and advocate for stress reduction?
Well, my story started a long, long, long time ago. I am nearly 47. And when I was 18 years old, I decided I was never, ever going to take allopathic medicine for my symptoms because I felt they were not helping me with the root cause of the problem. And that's where my journey started. I kept my word. It's been 29 years and I haven't had any allopathic medicine. I've been able to heal everything that has gone on in my life with holistic medicine. And the stress thing and the women's health, well, obviously I'm a woman, so it's easy for me to understand women, but also I am very much an A type. So I behaved like, there was no tomorrow. And by the age of 30, I had burned out already twice. So I had to really learn the hard way.
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of A type people, they just go, go, go. I don't have time. I have to do this, this. That's me too. But I actually slow down a little bit.
Yes.
So sometimes I just pause and I do nothing. Nothing.
Well, that's the way it should be done,
Yes,
really.
yes. So how homeopath help as stress reduction? I actually had a couple of visits with my homeopath, and I know they actually dig into your history of your PTSD if you had, or emotional trauma, or is not just looking at your physical medical history. How do you approach to this, and how do you use your techniques?
Well, that's exactly right. Holistic medicine means we look at the person from many different angles. And I am not just a homeopath. I mean, I've been in this industry or this thing so long that I use many different tools. And yes, and as a homeopath, I will look at somebody's physical, mental, emotional state, about the past, about the medication they've used, the medication they're using now, because believe it or not, medication does have a huge impact on our health. We don't take it into consideration, but that's the truth. And then we look at diet and sleep and sex life and basically everything. When you talk to a homeopath, you need to be ready to talk about poo and whatever, the homeopath throws at you. We go really deep and really wide.
Yeah, I think that's the best way, because stress is not only being angry or emotionally distressed. There are lots of stressors externally and internally inside the body. And the role of functional medicine also is finding the stressors. That's the same with homeopath or Reiki Master, because looking like looking at some people history, chronic pain, right?
Yes.
There was something in their past triggered them to have pain, right?
Yes.
And because they didn't approach to this correctly, the pain continued. Or they can store those information at that time, and something else happened to them and those come out, right? It's like a trauma. You may have a trauma in childhood, you don't have it in your adulthood, but those traumas store in your cells, and something happen and trigger you, and again it show off as a chronic pain. I agree.
Yes, absolutely possible. The way I approach stress and pain is as holistic as, everything else. But what is interesting is from the homeopathic point of view, acute stress is the thing that you react to in an acute situation, like it's an outside thing. But when it becomes chronic, when it becomes anxiety, it's actually no longer something that comes from the outside, is something that we keep going within ourselves. It's about the way we react to outside stressors. And of course, there are many things that have an influence on that. It can be something from the past, it can be an emotion we haven't actually processed. There can be all kinds of things related to that. There can be also, as I said, certain medications like birth control can deplete the body from nutrients, and that will make you more susceptible to stress. So there are many, many ways to look at this.
Exactly, I like that. Because as you said, stress can be triggered by so many factors. The interesting point, Vanessa, the cortisol, the hormone that nobody talk about it. Like in medical, they say, yeah, you have a stress, but how do I reduce the stress? The problem, let's say for asthma, which I had asthma, and using the puff is always recommended because you have low cortisol. When you have low cortisol, they inject you, or they ask you to use the cortisol to open your airways. And then instead of going and dig into it why your cortisol is low, you try to remove the symptoms and just go with the flow. And what happened temporary is good, because your cortisol go to the balance level. Still you have a little bit problem, but at that time is good. But you cannot use the cortisol in long term, right? What are your stress reduction technique exactly?
Well, if we are talking about, I mean, maybe I briefly explain to the viewers what cortisol is and why it's high or low. Cortisol is one of the stress hormones. It's one of the hormones that the body makes for us to survive when we are in a threatening situation. When there is a bear in front of you that wants to eat you up, you either need to fight the bear or run away as fast as you can. And this is what cortisol and adrenaline and noradrenaline, so the stress hormones, make sure we can do. And having those hormones working fine in an acute situation where you need to run away from a bear is fine. But when that becomes um, chronic and you are constantly living like some bear is chasing you, you can end up with adrenal fatigue. It basically means that your body kind of has run out of fuel. It has kind of burned out. That's the way, the word we use. That's the way the body protects itself. Now, having high cortisol has a huge amount of consequences. And one of them can be pain, because prolactin, which is a hormone, gets really high when the cortisol is high. So, as a practitioner of holistic medicine, the way I will get into stress is, of course, look at where it came from, how it has kept going, and so on. But there are many techniques I use. I use supplements and I use good food, but people often need techniques to be able to really relax, because sometimes the problem with stress is that if you go far enough, you don't know how to come back down. It's like it's very, very hard to do that. So I recommend breathing techniques. I recommend yoga. I am a Yin Yoga instructor. And I also use a lot of high quality essential oils, because these are things that can help the body really recover. It's not only about coming down first, but also being able to recover. If you're totally stressed all the time, your immune system is shut down. Everything is basically trying to survive. So you can't really recover. You can't really heal in that situation.
So you said essential oil, yoga in. How can you explain this method, yoga in? Yin
Yin
yoga.
yoga,
Yin
yeah,
yoga,
it's
yeah.
a funny thing. For the people that know the Indian tradition of yoga, and they know Hatha yoga and Ashtanga yoga and Iyengar yoga, those are the real yogas, so to speak. But in the 1980s, a man that was into yoga and martial arts, he developed this new way of doing yoga, which he called Yin Yoga. And the reason for that is because this yoga is a very slow pace yoga that actually it it is focused on getting more mobility and working with the fascia. So all the places in the body that have a lot of connective tissue, like muscles, but also especially joints and tendons. And yin yoga is especially good for people that are very burned out, because it's very slow. It rises the yin, which is the female, watery, receptive, slow energy, which someone that is burned out so much needs. So there are a lot of forward bends in yoga. Forward bends are positions to slow down the nervous system. So that's one of the reasons why yin yoga is very good. Also because it's easy to do. You don't need to be very strong or very flexible to start.
Very similar to Tai Chi, right? It may have some differences.
Well, Tai Chi is way more dynamic, because in Tai Chi, you're moving your whole body the whole time. Yin Yoga is actually very steady. You are on your mat, lying down, sitting down, many minutes at a time in each position. So it's like super slow. My Yin Yoga teacher used to call it Panda Yoga.
Interesting. Yeah. So what do you do with Reiki? So is that how do you use Reiki for reducing stress?
Well, I sometimes combine these therapies. I sometimes keep them separated. It depends on what the client wants. Some of my clients want nothing to do with Reiki because they think it's too strange. But most of the people that come to Reiki, it's basically, again, just finding the imbalance in the person and making sure they relax before I even start the treatment.
Mm.
So a lot of my clients fall asleep during the treatment, because that's, they are super tired and super burned out. So when they can come to a place that they trust, they are okay and can let go, that's when they are able to fall in deep sleep. And basically a Reiki treatment is an energetic treatment that cleans up, like, let's say, the energetic field of the person, and then just helps your energy flow and move. So it's a bit about balancing the aura, I guess
Mm.
you could say.
Is there anything else you want to add to our talk? A recommendation for people with for reducing the stress, or any other recommendation for women's health?
Well, I think that when it comes to stress, the first thing is to realize that if it's chronic, it's something that goes on inside of you. So finding the reasons why you're stressed, um, I see a lot, for example, people that have a fear of life. They're worried about money, they're worried about survival, basically. So that's a problem of the first chakra. It's about, feeling safe and feeling that you're going to be okay. And when you don't feel like that, you're going to tend to overwork yourself to make sure you have enough money. We are actually, the problem is we don't feel we are supported and we are safe. And so we look for the solution outside of ourselves and we try to compensate for that. So find the root cause. That's what I would say is the most important thing, and acknowledge that mind and body are one. It's not like, this just fell from heaven to you and you can't fix it. Yes, you can. You do have the power to listen to yourself, to find the root cause and to change things. And of course, if it's difficult for you to do it alone because you don't even know where to start, find a trained professional that will guide you and help you. Because sometimes also when we are so super tired and super stressed, we can't anymore even think about things. It's hard to make a plan or to stick to it, or to, we don't have the energy to research or to read Google. So find someone you like, someone you resonate with, a professional that can help you, and then just take one step at a time.
And I guess Vanessa is not only connecting with one person. If there is a support group,
Mhm.
I totally agree with this. I
Yeah.
know for my fertility coaching, support group really help.
Yes.
And because you see people similar to you, and
Yes.
usually there are a lot of group coachings, and people feel more encouraged because they are in the same boat.
Yes, that's another
So
possibility, of course.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's a great opportunity if they get familiar to and to these techniques together. They do something. They have more inspiration to do the work. Yes,
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. Yeah, you can, but some people don't like that. So, there are
yeah,
there are those.
that's the problem because with the homeopath,
Mm,
I just realized you should be very very open to your own situation to talk it with your homeopath practitioner. So if you don't trust her, that's not
mm,
going to go well. I know people are very closed. A lot of people, they cannot
mm.
talk about the problems, or they don't want to disclose a lot of secrets from their past.
That's
These are the things that you cannot actually talk about it in support group, but you can practice techniques in support group, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
of course. There are many ways to do it, and if you feel that a support group or a coaching group is great, then absolutely go for it. Whatever works for you. I mean, we are all different.
yes, yes. Thank you, Vanessa, for being here. I just go to your Instagram. It's Vanessa and
Oh
Seni.
dear.
How can
En esencia, that's not very good. It's Spanish for English-speaking people. It's not going to work. But they
yeah,
can read it, maybe.
yeah,
And
can you spell it, because that's go to podcast as well. So some
it's
people only hear it.
okay.
So
It's
Vanessa,
Vanessa en esencia, which means
Enesencia.
Yes, that's right. So it means in essence, basically,
Essence.
in
Yeah,
English.
yeah, you're right. Because you're talking doing the essential oil. Do you want to add something for essential oil as well? Um, yeah.
With essential oils, the only thing I'm going to say is that make absolutely sure that you have a brand that is 100% pure. If
Mm-hmm.
you get yourself, I know somebody sells you an oil for $5, $7, do not buy it. Because you're putting something on your body that is not going to work and it can be even harmful. So, to make essential oils, to make pure essential oils, to get 1 liter, sometimes we need hundreds of kilos. Let's say, a truck full of, raw material to get 1 liter of oil. So, you'll see an expensive oil is often a quality oil. And the way you'll know is that if the oil smells as close as possible to the herb, let's say peppermint oil, you'll have a pure oil if the oil smells as if you had crushed a peppermint herb in your between your fingers. That's how you know.
Mm,
If it
interesting.
tastes if it smells too sweet or too different or too this or too that, too fancy, it's not pure. Do not use it. And also, if it's $3, $5, just leave it there.
That's the same with the supplement, Vanessa, because there are
Exactly.
lots of sites, online shopping. You can go and buy your supplement, but if it's not a trusted um, brand, then it harm your body. So you
Absolutely.
have to be really careful what you use.
Yes.
Vanessa, are you disconnected? No,
No,
you're
no,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
Can you still
Okay,
hear
we
me?
are almost finished.
Yes.
Just mm, yeah, I can hear you. We are almost finished. We have um, Vanessa and Sesha. Okay, Vanessa, and that you have your Facebook as well. The Facebook is different from your Instagram. I can see facebook.com. Yeah, Vanessa Noemi 007. Okay, thank you for being here. I really enjoyed talking to you. Hopefully, everybody could use what she said. Go with Reiki, homeopath, and also all the stress reduction techniques. We talk about this. And always look at the body as a whole, because that's the way we can treat our body. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pantea. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed this a
Please
lot.
subscribe to Pantea Kalhor Transition channel and order my book, The Gap, in Amazon. Thank you for watching.